Hey guys, what's up? Caleb Downing here, and today we're going to talk about the Osight S in olive green. Let's get into it. I thought I said something else. It's Osight S, not X. They have an Osight X, which we've done a review on that. We've done a review actually on the Osight S, but this is their first iteration of olive green. And it's kind of like a tan, it's kind of like a green, it's interesting. We're gonna stick it on the FN 502 pistol, which is all different colors of green, of tan, and so it kind of gives it that 50 shades of FDE. Kind of completes that look, I think. So that's gonna look really cool here in a second. But let's talk about it real quick. We've already done, like I said, we've already done a review on the S, on the Osight S, so we don't need to rehash all that stuff. I will just go ahead and throw up some specs there for you guys, because some people really want to know that. So we'll throw up the specs there for you, and I'll hit the high points really quick. All right, so you have three main modes: circle dot, dot, and circle. With circle dot, you're gonna get about 20,000 hours of battery life. With the dot by itself, you're gonna get about 21,900 hours. And with the circle by itself, you're gonna get about 20,000 hours. That's at full brightness, motion sensing on, and ambient light sensing on. That's key to note. I don't run it that way. I run it at about setting 6 or 7, a little bit higher than medium, and I keep it constant on all the time. And for me, they last about 3 to 4 weeks. Just depending on stuff, it lasts about 3 to 4 weeks. Cool thing about it is the charging case, we'll get into that in a second, but you can always check your charging or your battery level on the go. You don't have to do anything special to do it, so that's really cool. We'll get into that in just a second. Let's hit the rest of these key points here. You get 1 meter drop rating. You get IPX7 rating as far as waterproofness, and unit weighs about 1 ounce. The body of the optic is made out of 6061 aluminum, so it is an aluminum housing. And then the charging case, that is made of plastic. So if you read on the spec sheet and you're like, it's made of aluminum and plastic, like what's aluminum, what's plastic? The optic itself is not plastic. The charging case is plastic. It's a good thing to note. I wish they kind of annotated that a little bit better. Some cool things that come with the optic, not just cool, but very, very practical. I've hit this before, and I'll hit it again every time I get one of these things just to make a big point. Optics companies need to send their mounting screws like this. Not in the stupid little plastic baggies that aren't marked very well, or maybe they're marked with a sticker that comes off and you lose them and you don't know what's going on. This is awesome. These are all the screws, mostly. This is like 85, 95% of the screws that you're ever gonna need to mount anything. They give you plenty of the screws. They have 6x32, M4, 6x40, and M3. These are generally going to be all the screws you're ever going to need. We have an exception when we mount this guy to the 502 here in a second. We have to use some extra long screws because we're using a mounting plate, an adapter plate, and the threads on the slide itself on the 502, they start a little bit deeper, and so you don't get quite the engagement that you would need with the screws that they provide. So I'm going to have to use some of my other screws that are a little bit longer. But that's why I'm saying 85, 95% of the time, the screws that they provide are going to be great. They're going to work perfectly fine. And they also give you a little spec sheet that tells you the torque value that you need. Again, this is attention to detail. I pointed this out in the review of the Osight S and Osight X because they provide this with both of those sights. This is awesome. They give you a little tool that you're not going to be able to get calculated torque with this tool, but this will get you by, this will get you mounted up and ready to go. But they give you the torque value in case you do have a Torx driver like a fix-it stick or something like that. Talking about the charging case, again, we've gone over this in the other reviews, but I'm just gonna hit it again. The charging case itself, this is what you charge. It has a USB-C on the back, and they provide the charging cable with that. You can plop that right on top of your optic, and that will tell you, when you plop it on, the lights will light up, and that will tell you the battery level of the optic. When you pull the charging case off, now it's going to tell you the battery level of the charging case. So that's how you can check the charging case, that battery level and the optic battery level. If you don't have your charging case with you, you can always hit one of the buttons on the side. I got too many lights in here, you won't be able to see it, but there's a little light indicator between the plus and the minus. If it is green, I'm gonna make sure I read this right. If it is green, it is greater than 50% charged. If it is yellow, it's 50 to 20% charged. If it's red, then it's 10 to 20% charged. And if it's blinking red, you're less than 10%. So you can always check your battery level on the go. And in my experience, These guys last, like I think I already said, between 3 to 4 weeks with the way that I run it on a medium setting, constant on, no shake awake, and no light sensing. The light sensing works. Their light sensor does work better than some of the other models that are out there that I've used, like Hollison. These work better than that. I just like to control the light and know exactly how bright it's going to be. That's just a picky feature for me, but you can go through that, and you can go through and turn off all those features. The motion sensing, you can turn that off and turn it on to constant on. You can turn on, turn off the light sensing portion. So this is about as customizable in all its options as you could want, right? You don't have to buy a special, a special model that has the dot and a special model that has the dot and the circle. It's all programmable. And a lot of companies are doing that, and I'm glad that they are doing that too. They didn't skimp out and, cheat you in that way. So I'm glad that they didn't do that. Let's go ahead and throw this guy on the 502, kind of give you a look-see of what it looks like. This is just a quick mounting. I'm not actually going to torque it down to proper value, and I'm not going to put down what you call thread locker. I'm not going to put any thread locker on here. I'm just going to get this guy torqued down a little bit so you can kind of see how he looks on here. Overall, on the other Osight S that I have and my Osight X's, or Osight X and my original Osight, because I got 3 of them now. Anyway, I've never had them lose their zero. I've never had them mess up as far as outside of their wheelhouse for what their intended purpose and use is for. I've never had them die on me. I've never had anything catastrophic happen that wasn't because I did something. I did drop one of these in the snow, ice, multiple times above 1 meter, and it did crack the housing. The thing is that the optic never lost zero. In fact, when I went and reshot the zero to confirm, even after, I didn't crack the housing, I cracked the glass. It compromised the seal, so they got water on the inside. But my group size shrank. So the point of impact didn't even shift, but my group size went down. So explain that to me. I have no idea. I got no idea. But that just tells me that even if this guy is abused a little bit, he's still going to work for you. In my experience, not just my opinion, but my experience with using this, it's still going to work for you. So take a look at that. I think they hit it out of the park. I think they did a fantastic job. It's if you're into the ODG, right? The olive drab, the olive green, the tan looking kind of stuff. If you've got a pistol that's not just black and you want to add some little fling and flare to it, this is awesome. This is awesome. So that's a little look at the new Osight X in OD green. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure there's still gonna be haters out there, and you know what? That's fine. Haters are gonna hate, and there's really nothing you can get around that. Let's just confirm, because some people talk about how these things don't work with iron sights. This is a Athena Precision Optics plate on here, an adapter plate. Works perfectly fine. I'm still getting charge. He fits right on there. I'm able to use this mounting, this charging cover with the optic, with rear iron sights. It's charging, it's doing its job. So they fixed a problem that was there in the original model, the Osight, the original Osight. Anyway, that's it. Y'all be good, be safe. I appreciate you guys. If you got any questions about any of the Osight stuff, let me know. I use it, I personally carry it. I personally use it. It's on one of my pistols here. This is my 365 XL. Still use the Osight S, right, on this guy. Still holds zero, still works, no problems, no issues. I trust it, I use it. That's not saying that you have to do that. That's just saying this is my opinion, and that's how I see it. So anyway, we can go talk about it in the comments. Let's go check it out. Y'all be good to be safe. Appreciate you guys, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next video. See ya. Little extra bonus here. I didn't realize this till after I was kind of putting stuff away. Yes, if you do ever run into issues, if you have your Osight, this model specifically, I don't know about all the other models out there and everything, but if you have rear sights that maybe don't allow the charging case, maybe they do get in the way. These ones don't. This one can fit on there and is charging. Hopefully you can see that. But if you run into that issue, you can turn this guy around and plop it in the front. Hopefully you can see that, and it will still charge. So even if you do have optics in the rear or iron sights in the rear that are covered up, you can still plop this guy on top and he's going to charge for you. That's pretty cool. So again, that is Osight, Olight, whatever, thinking and fixing things. That's pretty stinking cool. Anyway, there you go. That's a little extra bonus for you.